People, this is the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show where we talk about real life real estate situations, but we bring you real life real estate solutions. I'm your host, Glen, but affectionately known as Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime. And we got a special guest today that's going to be sharing some amazing information with us today. So stick around. All right, folks, listen, again, this is the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show. We're going to get into some major stuff today. I got a guest with me today that's going to blow your mind with the information that he's going to be sharing with you. He's no stranger to the show. He's definitely an alumni. He's been on a few times. None other than my man, Idris Talib. I got to make sure I always get that right. Make sure I get that right. But listen, he's affectionately known as the Pretty House Guy. Now, somebody would say, well, why would somebody be known as the Pretty House Guy? But I got to tell you, he's taken a area of the investing world that many of us don't pay much attention to, and he's spend it on his head. He's actually looking at, he invests in primarily pretty houses where you don't have to deal with cash, credit, any of those things. Fixing up, he don't really get into none of that stuff. But I won't do it any justice. He's actually somebody that I pay quite a bit of close attention to when it comes to looking at this way of investing, because it gets you into the business, like I said, with very little cash or credit, but you got to be educated. You got to have the right people showing you the way. And he's actually going to be one of our special guest speakers at the event this coming Saturday, October 9th, where we're going to be talking about the state of the market. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But without further ado, we're going to bring on my man, Mr. Idris Talib. Right. I always want to say Talib. What's happening, brother? How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Really looking forward to this weekend. Just trying to take care of a lot of things this week. It's been a great week.
Man, that's good. That's good. Hey, listen, man. Whenever we talk, man, I'm always fascinated about it, just what you do, and just your story in a whole, man. Right. It's fascinating to talk about. And I got to give a shout out to my man John Stafford. Definitely shout out to my man John Stafford for the word of the month. You know what the word of the month today is for this month?
I saw it. What is it?
The word of the month is comeback.
Right. Yeah.
The word of the month is comeback. Hey, listen. So shout out to John for the word of the month of being comeback, man. And listen, couldn't think of anybody else that has a absolutely amazing comeback story. Bro, you ain't missed the beat, man.
I had plenty of time where I could just sit down, get focused, and then the biggest thing was I just put focus on one thing. Yeah. And this is actually the first time. I've been investing for 18 years, but this is the first time where I just went all in. I cut out every single distraction in my life. I said, I'm just gonna go all in on one thing. And
Great
then now, things just keep moving. Everything's based off momentum.
Absolutely. So before we go any further, now I know I introduced you and I gave you a small introduction, but it might be one or two people that'll come across this that might not know who you are.
Right.
So give the people a little bit of backstory about who you are, what you're doing, and then we'll get right into it.
All right. Well, my name is Idris Talib. I'm the Pretty House Guy. I focus on helping people create multiple streams of income, buying nice houses in nice neighborhoods. But here's the catch. You don't need no cash, no credit, and you're not dealing with these long and costly rehab projects. That's what I focus on right there. But in terms of my background, I went to school for engineering. I got out, I got into finance. I was a stockbroker on Wall Street. I've owned restaurants. I've owned a tax business, but my bread and butter, I own a medical practice. I had offices in Raleigh, Charlotte, Greenville, Columbia, Williamston, Atlanta, and Marietta. So that was a multi-million-dollar business until it was February 20th, 2018. I got this knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was in a condo in Midtown, and the police showed up. And I was like, what are you doing here? They said, we have 2 warrants for your arrest out of South Carolina. So I found out about that. They arrested me, found out that we were committing Medicaid fraud at my business. So I will say that I'm not one of these people who say, well, we weren't doing anything. In my business, we were committing Medicaid fraud, although I didn't know what was going on. But since I was the owner of the business, I was 100% responsible for everything. So set a plea bargain with the attorney general. I had to pay back $400,000 in 6 months. I had to shut down my business. I just went broke. I lost everything. But in that
Wow.
meantime, within those 6 months, couldn't pay back the money. So I got sentenced to 5 years, in which I did 2 years. And then I got out October 30th of 2020. So I've been out about 11 months and just been hitting the ground running doing real estate.
Wow. Wow. Man, and that's what I'm talking about. An amazing comeback story. Bruh, listen, you know, everybody ain't built for what we do. You know what I mean? Everybody's not built for what we do. And then to talk about having to experience something like that and then come back and get right on top again is an absolutely amazing comeback story, man. So again, shout out for doing what you do, man. And you know, let's talk about what it is to be the pretty house guy.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Man, you know, I just look at nice homes and nice areas and good school districts. The thing I know is people are always going to want to move into an area in a good school district. Always. Because if you're a parent and you have kids, your number one question when you get ready to move, how are the schools? And then if it's in a good school district, those areas will always be in high demand or whatever. Another thing is, I'm not the most patient person. My business partner and I, now I do rehabs and wholesaling and all these other strategies as well. You know, my business partner and I, we're finishing up a rehab, but it's been going on and on and on. We thought we had it finished. There was some stuff going on with the roof. It rained real bad. The ceiling fell in. I mean, and then someone stole the AC unit. We know it was a contractor.
Wow. Wow.
This is one thing after another. You know, fortunately, you know, we are at the finish line with that. We'll be getting that done, and that should be a good project for us. But, you know, as far as being a pretty house guy, you know, I have 3 paydays. I get paid up front, I get monthly cash flow, and I get a big check on the end. And then I'm able to help out a lot of people as well. So, I mean, I just love it. It's just how I do real estate. I love it.
So say that again, man. You just kind of passed over that a little bit.
Yeah,
you
so
say you got three paydays. How we do that, man?
So a lot of times what I do is, let's just look at the economic area, especially here in Atlanta, but in other parts of the United States as well. There's a lot of people, they're not able to qualify for financing. And it's either A, it's their credit, or B, okay, what's up, Robert? See, Robert. Yeah,
what's up, Yancy? Cassiana.
Yeah. But if we look at the economic landscape of America, there's so many entrepreneurs right now. And I kind of call it the entrepreneur dilemma. Because as an entrepreneur, you know, we are able to make a lot of money, but one of the problems is that with us making a lot of money, our number one expense becomes taxes. And who wants to pay a lot of taxes? So we try to write everything off. For example, our business may gross $800,000, but we may write off $750,000 and we're only showing $50,000 in profit. Well, we're used to living in a $500,000 home and we're paying $3,500 a month. We've never been late. As a matter of fact, we may have a pretty decent credit score. However, a lender is not going to give us a loan for $500,000 based off an income of $50,000. You're going to have to put a substantial amount of money down, or your other option that a lot of entrepreneurs end up doing, their accountant may sit down with them and say, look, you're going to have to pay taxes on all this money showing that you can afford a $500,000 house. And what I tell people is taxes is the worst expense to overpay on. And the reason why, you get no enjoyment out of it. If I blow my money on a vacation, on a car, on a clothes, on whatever, I get some enjoyment out of it. I may go broke, but at least I'm looking good all the way going down to being broke. You get nothing out of overpaying taxes, nothing whatsoever.
Not at all.
People are doing that to try to get into a house. So I've created a solution where we can help them get into a house. Either be a seller financing, maybe a lease option. There's a variety of strategies that we can deploy to help these entrepreneurs, as well as individuals who may not have the credit right now to be able to obtain a mortgage and get into a home instead of throwing away money on rent every single month.
Got it. Okay. And that's the strategy that you use to acquire the properties on the front end. Is that right?
Yes. So
Okay.
I usually acquire them. My acquisition strategies, it'll be a lease option. It
Mhm.
may be substitute financing. It may be seller financing. And then I do have an all cash model as well.
Okay. Okay. So can you tell us what those are? Like what I mean, what is a lease option? Like many people are familiar with that. How does that
Well,
work?
I'll give you an easy example. Let's
Mhm.
just say that you move into a house, okay? You move to a
Mhm.
house. What you want is you got to get some furniture for a house, okay?
Mhm.
You go to a
Yeah.
furniture store, either A, you have cash, or you have the credit to where you can qualify for in-store financing and you take the
Mhm.
furniture home. Well, what if you have bad credit? Well, if you have bad credit, you may end up going to a place like maybe Rent a Center, Aaron's Furniture, and where
Right.
they had easy weekly or monthly payments to eventually you can actually own that furniture. Now,
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
long run, you will end up paying, a premium for easy financing. You will.
Right.
You'll
Okay.
probably be paying double or even triple what the cash price for it is. But because of those easy terms, the value of it goes up. And we're able to use this same business model with houses. So with the rent to own, this is for individuals who aren't able to qualify for financing. We can put
Okay.
them into a house where, yeah, they do have to put some money down, which is an option fee. Now,
Okay.
all of that option fee will go towards the purchase price of the house if they exercise their option. Okay.
What does it mean to exercise their option?
So the exercise option, it is a lease with an option to buy, not an
Okay.
obligation to buy.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, your house may be, let's just say it's $300,000. Okay.
Mhm.
Your payment on that house may be $2,000 a month. All right. So you're going to be paying at $2,000 every single month. Okay. And then we're going to send you to one of our credit experts to help you with your credit so you can qualify for financing.
Wow.
And once you're able to qualify for financing, they'll do an appraisal on the house to make sure the house is worth the amount they're selling for. Then we'll
Mhm.
schedule a closing. And once we schedule that closing, that is when we're going to exercise the option.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Great stuff. Great stuff. So it sounds like a win-win-win for everybody involved in the transaction.
Yes, yes, it definitely is. And then for the seller, like, well, why would the seller want to do that instead of just selling that house outright? Well, there are
Mhm.
some benefits as well because we can pay them more for their house.
Right.
Another thing is they're getting equity. They're getting the mortgage paid down every single month. And then
Mhm.
it depends on the market. More than likely, the value of the house is going up as well. They get the mortgage interest deduction on the taxes. They still get the depreciation on their house as well. So
Mm.
these are some benefits. And this is the big benefit too. During this duration, while the house is on a rent-to-own basis, they are not responsible for any repairs whatsoever because the individual is going to be living there as if they own the house. They are 100% responsible for all repairs for anything that's not under warranty.
Wow. Wow. So that means if we and you being the person that does this transaction, you're not on the hook for doing plumbing and toilets. That's the big thing. Like landlords get
Yep.
so crazy about having to do repairs and stuff like that.
Right, right. No, no, no. We send all of that to the actual owner, the actual tenant buyer of the house. That is their responsibility, and they know that going in.
Great stuff. Great stuff. So why isn't everybody doing this, man?
Well, for some, for one reason, a lot of people don't know about it, and
Okay.
then for two, there's a negative stigma attached to it sometimes. Because I will say that traditionally speaking, a lot of people do not exercise their option when they work with other type of people. Because some people they'll just come in, and then just let them do whatever it is that they do, and they're not working with them on improving their credit. And one of the
Mm.
things that I do as well is with our organization, we actually provide financial literacy for them as well. We want to ensure that you are not going to end up in a position to where you're not going to be able to exercise this option. That doesn't help any one of us whatsoever. We want to make
Wow.
sure that you have good savings. We want to make sure that your credit's where it needs to be. We look over all these things, and we would not put you anywhere that you can't afford because we want to make sure you're in a good position to win.
Great stuff. Great stuff. So it sounds like with what you got going on, man. It's absolutely amazing. You're providing a service for a seller, and I imagine typically sellers in some of these situations, some of these transactions, maybe have run into a situation where they need somebody like you,
Right.
because typically, you know, a person that's an investor or a wholesaler, they're looking for a large margin
Right.
to be in the property when they're purchasing it.
Right.
Right. And if there's no equity, typically a person that doesn't understand how these transactions can work, it's not a deal for them. So
Exactly.
they pass over them.
Exactly.
Right. So with very little margin, you can come in and offer something like you're talking about, the seller financing and things like that, to be able to help the seller in this situation, especially those that possibly are going into pre-foreclosure. They don't know what to do, and they don't have a lot of equity.
Yes, that's a big thing. And so most of the people that we work with, there's really seven keys to motivation. Okay.
Okay.
They may have maybe a job relocation. So they're going to move somewhere else. And, you know, wherever you move somewhere, you're going to secure housing there. A lot of people, they can't afford 2 payments if they can't do anything with their house here. Okay. The second thing may be like a divorce or relationship issue. You know, a lot of households is dictated by, you know, 2 parties' ability to pay, and one of them's moving out. So the other person may not be able to afford it. You know, another one may be, it may be a job loss. You know, if you lose your job, you lose income. And unfortunately, you know, you're not going to be able to make those payments. You know, another one may be a frustrated landlord, especially right now with the moratorium going on. You know, there's a lot of landlords, they've had to continue to pay that mortgage. However, they weren't able to get any rent from their tenants. You know, so that's another thing. Another thing may be an individual who's looking to downsize. So maybe an older couple, you know, all the kids are gone. They're like, you know what? We don't need 3,000 square feet and 5 bedrooms. It's just us. We're getting older. We don't want to be going up and down the stairs, cleaning the house or whatever. So they're looking to downsize. Or maybe the opposite. It may be a new family. They may be like in a 2-3 bedroom or whatever. Then the wife is pregnant and they're about to give birth to another child. So you know what? We need more space. You know, and then the last but not least, it may be somebody like in probate. You know, I'm dealing with a house like that right now as we speak. One that's in probate. So these are the levels of motivation that I look for to see if someone may be a good fit for maybe a rent to own or any other type of creative financing.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, so listen, I'm being told that I have to do a pause for the calls and play our commercial real quick. So let's hang tight for just a second.
Sounds good.
How you doing, folks? This is Glen, affectionately known as Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime, and real life real estate investing is back live.
My brother, Glen Glasper of the Real Live Real Estate Investing Podcast, is hosting a major event. We're going to be talking about the state of the real estate market.
Now, many of us know that real estate is cyclical. We're going to be talking about the things that have happened in the past, the things that are currently happening, and potentially some of the things that we foresee happening in the future.
This is a great opportunity for you guys to come out to be able to meet some of the top gentlemen and ladies in the business and ask all your pressing questions about what's the state of the market, where do we see it going. Well, this Saturday is your opportunity to come out and talk with us face to face.
Is the real estate market still hot, or is it cooling off? Well, come join myself and several of my colleagues as we discuss the current real estate market and what we're seeing on October the 9th.
So come out this Saturday, October 9th, and we look forward to seeing you there. Go ahead and click on the link below, get registered. We look forward to seeing you in the place.
If you can't make it live, make sure you register so you can attend virtually.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Hey, listen, this event, man, I'm so excited for what's coming up, man.
Good.
Hey, listen, it's been a while since we've hosted the Real Life Real Estate Investing event, man. But I'm excited to have us come back on and get this thing in order, especially with somebody like yourself, man, that I know is going to bring the heat and talking about what we're talking about, you know, especially with the program that you're talking about now. Right. And let's, you know, while we segue into what's going to be happening at the event this coming Saturday, how does what you do, how is it working in the current market? Is it relative to what has happened in the past, and how can it work in the future?
Yes, it's very relevant right now because the affordability, a lot of people right now, even if they can't qualify for a mortgage, they're getting outbid right now. You know, you have so many cash, especially in Atlanta, because if you think about it, Atlanta's really one of the cheapest major cities in the United States of America. You had people leaving California, New York, different parts of the country coming down here with cash. So for a first-time home buyer, most of them, they're looking at a house between $200,000, $250,000. Well, you have these people coming over here, they're getting more house, more land for half or even the fourth of the price. They're coming over here with $800,000 cash. The house may be on the market for $250,000, but they said, look, $275,000 cash, we'll close in 10 days. That's what sellers are going for. So a lot of these individuals who are looking to buy a house, they have to wait. And as a result of all the inventory being gone, rental prices are starting to go up. And then they don't want to throw their money away on rent. So this is the perfect opportunity for them to have the best of both worlds. I can rent to own my own pretty home. And that's what we're able to provide for them.
Great stuff. So how did this work in the market crash?
Yeah.
The previous market crash?
Because in the market crash, there was no equity. So I would just go to the sellers and I would say, look, if you're going through pre-foreclosure, if you're not able to bring that mortgage current, you're going to lose this house. At least by working with myself, we're not going to destroy your credit and put a foreclosure on your credit.
Wow.
And then we'll even sometimes, on some of the option fee or whatever, I'll help them out. We'll give them some money to help them move. And then it benefits me as well because guess what? When they move, they need another place to stay. Wow. And guess what? Since they're going through pre-foreclosure, that means they've been late on their mortgage. That's on their credit report.
Right.
And guess what? We can put them on a rent to own.
Full circle.
Right.
Full circle. Hey, man, that's amazing, man. And like I said, now of course I'm familiar with these types of transactions, but for the people that have not seen something like this work, is there a closing? Like, how does this work? Do you go to the closing? Is there a contract that's written? Like, how does this type of process come together?
Right. So in terms of a closing, because you don't know when or even if there's going to be a closing, but what you want to do is you want to have all your closing documents put into escrow. Okay. Because the last thing that you want to do when you're working in my capacity is trying to chase down a seller saying, hey, it's time to close.
Man.
They may have moved, their phone number may be changed.
Yeah.
life just happens. And then that tenant buyer, they're eager. They're like, look, I qualify for financing. I'm ready to own this home. So we already have all the closing documents already in escrow. We can just have a closing. Everything's been signed. Everything's been notarized.
Okay.
All right. So that's how we handle that end of the transaction and everything. Now, the type of contracts we use is we'll have two types of documents. We'll have a lease, and then we'll have a separate option to purchase. And that's on both ends, especially when I'm going to stay in the middle of the transaction.
Okay. So, that brings about now, and I believe you just touched on it, but it brings about a question that I was actually speaking to a gentleman with at an event on last night.
Okay.
First of all, shout out to Eddie Charger and LaShawn Nicole. They hosted an amazing event last night. My first time actually making it, and I definitely will be going back to check them out again.
Great.
But I was actually speaking to a gentleman who has a situation that I'm sure what you offer can potentially help him out. Maybe.
Okay.
We talked it through and I gave him some ideas of what he can do, but I want to get your thoughts on it. He's actually dealing with a situation where there's a 1 acre lot that has a mobile home on it.
Okay.
Right. Now, this mobile home, of course, mobile homes have titles and things like that, that you can often transfer, but he has everything mortgaged and he has it under contract to buy it. And he's wholesaling it to another buyer.
Okay.
The buyer just happens to be out of the country. In a situation or a scenario where he's got everything mortgaged, and if you were to approach that as a buyer that was looking to then sell it off under the same type of the same way you would acquire it, which is seller financing, how would a transaction like that come together in your opinion?
So I would look at the numbers, and if it makes sense, we'll just do a wraparound mortgage. We'll just create
Okay.
another mortgage to wrap around that existing mortgage, make sure those payments are being made, and then to make sure that I'm going to get some type of a spread from the rent that I charge, or whether it's on seller financing, from the amount that I'm collecting monthly. That's what I'm doing.
And and that's basically what I told him. It's really that simple. Now, but in this scenario, does title change hands, or how will title change in a scenario where you do the wraparound, or does it have to change?
It depends. It depends if it's going to be in a land contract, or if it's going to be, or it's going to be like more likely that it doesn't sound like it's subject to.
Right.
So it may be in a land contract or whatever. So title will not actually change until one of those mortgages gets bought out.
Absolutely, absolutely, great stuff. Yeah, and that's another scenario that would actually work, because you can actually put title in escrow.
Right.
Great stuff. See, listen, that's why I talk to brilliant people like you. So let's talk about what we foresee potentially happening in the upcoming market. Now, of course, what you're talking about, how you do what you're doing, that's will stand the test of any time.
Right.
But as it relates to the market, let's talk to the folks a little bit about what you see happening in our current market.
Okay.
As it relates to, how it's hot, it's warm, it's lukewarm, it's up, it's down, it's sideways.
Right.
And what is your thoughts on what you foresee happening in the upcoming market?
Okay. So my thoughts are, I see interest rates going up. Okay.
They are creeping. Yeah.
The cost is going to start to go up. Another thing that I see, values of houses, they're still going up. They're just not going up as fast. So it's a kind of a slowdown in terms of the appreciation.
Okay.
Another thing is, builders are building things like crazy right now. So with that being said, the prices are still going to kind of go up, but it's not going to. The slope is not going to be as high as it's been in the past. So the appreciation rate is going to start to slow down or whatever. So with that being said, also another thing is we're going to see what is the fallout of, the moratorium being lifted. Are landlords actually going to be able to evict their tenants? If it, that's going to create one thing. And then also, what happens to these landlords who are behind on their mortgage? All these banks going to start calling these loans, start foreclosing on all these properties and everything. So those are some of the things that I can see happening. And then, another thing also is all these iBuyers. You have so many hedge funds and iBuyers in the marketplace, which is totally disrupting how real estate is sold. So that's another trend that's coming up in the marketplace as well. I can really just see kind of in the future where you're going to kind of have a hybrid model where it's going to be the agents and the investors are actually going to have to really start working together to help solve some of these issues that are going on with getting these homes sold.
Got it. Okay. So you said the agents will be involved in doing that?
Yeah, I believe so, because the thing is, the iBuyers are coming in with so much cash or whatever, and it's really eventually like the National Association of Realtors, they don't like what's going on or whatever, because when that happens or whatever, the commissions are going to start being cut, because they're like, well, why am I paying a 6% commission when I can just offer it to this person for cash? So then certain agents, they're going to be like, look, we'll renegotiate our rate, and then eventually, it can create that storm to where the old model of doing business, I'm not saying it's going to go away. However, some adaptations will need to be changed. It's kind of like how Uber and Lyft disrupted the whole taxi industry. I'm not saying it may not be as dramatic, but there's so much money behind all these iBuyers right now.
Right. So I want to touch on the concept or the idea of iBuyers and what that is, but I want to touch on with something that we have Jen Small. Jen, if you're still hanging with us, you said love this concept, and you also mentioned great way to acquire property when not ready. So if you're still with us, I want to kind of dig into that a little bit more. On what you mean by the concept, why you love the concept, what you like most about it, and so we can get a little bit deeper into that. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on her to respond to that, what is an iBuyer?
Okay. So an iBuyer is, I want to give you an example. The companies, you probably heard of them, Zillow, Open Door, OfferPad. Okay. So these iBuyers are backed by hedge funds, or they're backed by private money. They just have a glut of money and they're offering cash for these houses. So the benefit to the sellers, it's a quick closing and it's all cash. Because anytime financing gets in the way, it's going to take 30 to 45 days to close that transaction. Another thing is these iBuyers, since they're paying on cash, they're buying the property as is.
Yes.
Normally, when someone's applying for financing, wherever, they're going to have certain type of contingencies where certain things need to be fixed, before they'll actually execute on the closing or whatever. So that's the whole thing with the iBuyers, and they have so much money. Basically, they're from Wall Street. They have billions and billions and billions of dollars, and they can totally come in and monopolize an area and really control that area. And that could be that becomes a serious threat to the neighborhood, also to individuals like agents and everything, looking to try to sell those houses.
Wow. And like you said, that's another part of that is the iBuyers, in many cases, what people are not really familiar with, a lot of them are trying to attract agents. In the beginning, they were trying to attract agents, and then showing those agents, cutting those agents' commissions in a lot of cases. Like one, I can't remember which one of them. They were saying standard rate of closing is 2%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what agent would agree to that? And I'm talking about if the overall percentage is 2%, they're only charging 2% to get the house sold. So is there a buying agent and a selling agent, each of them getting 1%? Like how does that work?
I'm not sure on that end because I'm not an agent. However, this is just me outside looking in. The only benefit to that is you'll make money on volume.
The volume, yeah.
Because they're going to attract so many people so fast. And that's another thing as well, because one of the hardest parts about being an agent is finding new clients and customers. Okay. So instead of just saying, with the old business model, contact me, I'll let you know what your house is worth. I mean, people are like, I can go on Zillow and figure out how much my house is worth.
Right.
Now what you can tell them is say, look, I can get your house sold for cash. Like cash? Really? How much am I going to get? Well, I don't know. Let's do this agreement or whatever, and then I can let you know.
Yeah.
And now you're able to get a lot more listings and everything. And listings for a lot of agents are the lifeblood of their income, because listings creates more buyers for them as well, even if they're on the buyer side. Because every house that they list, they're going to have multiples of people who are looking at that particular house that they can kind of put into their funnel, so they can start search for houses for them as well, which helps them make more money.
Right. Okay. Great stuff. I mean, again, listen, in the world of what we do, man, it's always several different ways to look at making these things happen.
Right.
And I think oftentimes in looking at the business of real estate investing, and I always lead with calling it the business of real estate investing, although there are many people that get involved and they treat it like a hobby.
Right.
And they don't look at it as it being a serious business, because somehow, well, I'll say what it is. You have the gurus, we'll call them gurus, who attracted people into this business that said you can get in and you can make $1 million with no money and no credit.
Right. I mean,
while that might be the case, I believe that's possible. However, I mean, because I did it, I know it's possible.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to be educated and understand how to get through those processes. I mean, like what you're doing, what you're talking about is definitely a way, but what gets lost is the processes of what it takes to get to the point of being able to have a conversation with a homeowner about the possibility of being able to buy their house this way, and then knowing how to attract buyers to buy that way.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Jen says, I want to make sure I got this right. She says, I like the fact that individuals who have credit issues can still potentially move into a home and work towards home ownership. Sounds like a blessing for those who've experienced a hiccup in life, bankruptcy, and credit won't prevent their progress. That's amazing. Absolutely, absolutely. And then too, I want to just add to what she said in that, Idris, is that what you provide is a service that not only helps people who've experienced those hiccups, but you also have something on the back of that with the financial literacy piece that helps them understand how they can get back to where they once were, or even better.
Right.
You know, that's what's amazing about what you offer.
And that's very important. For a lot of individuals, home ownership is the foundation of their wealth building plan.
Yes.
That's the foundation, for most Americans, and especially in our community, it's important that we actually have ownership.
Yes.
When we have ownership, that's when we actually can become decision makers, and we become wealth creators. And that's really what it's all about.
Definitely. Let's dig into that a little bit, because you went there, so I'm gonna go there with you. Well, when you said we become decision makers and we become wealth creators, I think there's not enough emphasis put on that when people hear those kinds of things. Like when we become decision makers because of ownership. You look at in many different communities will say the tax base that's created by the home ownership, right? The whatever political party you play a party in, you play a part in that because of the tax base of having what you contribute to the taxes and having home ownership, and you can decide who goes into office. Yep. Right. We'll put it this way: who represents you in the office? From every different level. Right. Because based on that, because not just as a voter, but you're a taxpayer. Right. Right. Now, and I'm not just talking about going to work and paying taxes. I'm talking about paying what we know as ad valorem and all these other taxes. Like, not just to, just to get your license plate, but you own an asset. Well, you own a property that will eventually become an asset in an area, whatever area it is, that you become a fixture in that community, that you can help make decisions in. Correct. That's powerful, and I don't think enough people understand how that works. Right. For example, I'm investing in Michigan, and there's one particular community that I'm investing in and buying properties in that the tax base was so weakened that they had to close schools. Right, you have so many abandoned properties in this particular community I grew up in. A lot of properties were just abandoned. It's a lot of blight in this particular community. So because there was no tax revenue coming in, they closed schools. There was a shortage of police officers, and crime increased. Right. But think about if people buy in those communities. Right. Now they can decide, okay, this is who I want as the mayor. Right. This is who I want as the city council people. Right. Now I'm providing tax revenue. I can get more policing, which will lower crime. Exactly. So all of these things as it relates to wealth creation. Right. You see what I mean? And decision making is powerful when you own a piece of property. Exactly. And that, is exactly what you said. And it's just the trickle down effect in terms of just the quality of life, in a particular area. It can be something as simple as, because you vote in the judges who best represent your interests. Yes. And the same thing as, the district attorney, that's a big one. Someone maybe trying to make a little bit of money selling marijuana or whatever. That's the difference of him getting probation and maybe have to do some, community service or whatever. Yes. Or them getting 5 years. Now they have a felony. Now it's hard for them to get a job. Just because of a decision of who they put in office. Right. Something that simple. So there's so many different things that are affected by us having or lack thereof the ownership of real estate. And real estate's just the foundation of, for almost everything. And the reason being is because you have to have a place to stay. Especially in Michigan. Yeah, absolutely. It's cold. You hear them Great Lakes? Right. When it's cold. Frozen lakes. Yeah, you go
want to find some shelter.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. You know, why I look at what we do and why I take it so seriously, man, and not just as a fly by night type of thing that you can come in and, you know, just because you fog up a mirror, you can become a real estate investor. You know, but it's so serious, and I think if we place the emphasis on how important it is for more people, let's keep it real, in our community to become homeowners.
Right.
And not and see, when we listen to that, like some of us miss it. Like when we say I'm going to become a homeowner, most of us have the concept of it being a traditional way.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the concept of the pretty house guy way, right? It's hard for them to fathom the possibility of just being able to come in. Of course, you got to have some money, but not have to jump through the hoops to deal with the banks and things like that.
Right.
Where traditionally they're known, it's known to happen that way.
Right.
Save up a little bit of money, come in,
Right.
even if your credit situation isn't where it needs to be. In some cases,
Right.
even where if your job situation isn't where it needs to be.
Right.
You can position yourself to get on track to get all those things in order so that you can become, you know, what I like to call a real life real estate investor.
Exactly. And that, I mean, and that's the thing. And then, you know, once you actually do own that home, you may have some access to some money to where you can actually, you know, get into another home. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do with real estate. It's like, to me, you know, I have a background on Wall Street. You know, I mean, stocks and crypto, all that stuff is cool and everything, but real estate, I'm getting cash flow, plus I'm getting appreciation, which is capital gains, plus I'm getting tax benefits. I mean, I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm gonna use a crazy concept because you mentioned crypto and all these other things. Now crypto is shown that it works, you know, Forex is shown that it works, you know, but I akin things like that in some cases, not all cases, so don't y'all come for me. You look at Burger King, all right, figure it like this, you know, Burger King say you can have it your way. Burger King has a new sandwich that comes out that you go and try, and you're like, oh, that sandwich wasn't the best that I thought it was going to be. But what has always been Burger King's standby sandwich is the Whopper. Right. You know the Whopper's gonna be what it is. You're gonna know the Whopper's gonna always be what it's been. Even with the new what I was gonna say, unknown meat. I mean what's the
Beyond Meat? Yeah. The Beyond Meat stuff. Right.
The Beyond Meat. That's what I meant. You know, you know that it's going to be a fixture in that burger joint. It's just like, you know, the business of real estate. You know, real estate has always been, you know, I mean, shout out to Chantel. She actually breaks down how taxes were paid on properties and liens were placed on properties back in the 1800s.
Wow.
So you think back that far, I mean, even further than that, where land has always been a part of wealth creation.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and so for all of our, you know, Forex, crypto investors and everything, here's something to think about as well, all right? So you can utilize real estate as your foundation, which allows you to be more aggressive with your investing.
Absolutely.
Because in case there is a bear market or there's a pullback, like there was between 2017 and 2020 in the crypto markets or whatever, you still have that cash flow come in. So a good investment strategy is to develop a real estate portfolio that provides enough passive income which exceeds your expenses. Anything up, over, and beyond, you can really start to throw that money into whatever type of trading vehicle you want to utilize, because you know your downside risk has been limited. You know, that's called beta. That's called beta whenever you're looking at your risk reward analysis, whenever you're looking at investing. You want things with, you know, a lower beta, and that real estate will create that beta for you.
Definitely.
Yeah, we can get real sophisticated, you know, with some of this stuff. That's what I used to do when I was at Morgan Stanley. But
wow.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, dollar cost average into crypto. You know, I'm a believer in it long term. I just always throw money in. It's at its peak. I said enough. I don't. That's just me. But if you like
Yeah.
doing it, you know, I encourage you. You know, I think it's great that people are starting to become more financially literate in terms of wanting to grow and invest their money or whatever. And,
Right.
you know, there's all types of ways to invest their money. You know, we'll talk about investments. Me personally, my favorite ATM machine to make money to scale or whatever, and it's something that you and I talked about.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
you know how to run them Facebook ads.
Yeah.
$1 becomes $4, and then you can scale. You know.
Yes.
You hit your economies of scale until you hit the law of diminishing returns, and then you make adjustments, re-optimize a campaign. You keep throwing money at it, and now that becomes cash flow for you to buy your assets, which is real estate. Use that cash flow to buy more crypto. Now you have, you know, you have a continual model of how you're able to make money, how you're able to have a place to save money, and how you have a place to invest money.
Man, see, listen, having brothers like you come on and talk like you talk about, this is where I need one of them horns. They go, pew, 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 pew. Right, because listen, and you know, I'm glad this is something that people can go back and listen to over and over again. Right. Because what you just shared, I don't know who the Facebook user is. I can't see the name, but it says dropping knowledge. Definitely dropping major knowledge. When you're talking about the things that you talked about is in terms of the different investment vehicles, it's, you know, and it's one thing is I'm excited to see more and more people getting involved in investing. Period. You know, period. Like these are things that, you know, times before it wasn't very many people in our community that was talking about investing.
Yes.
It took us some time to get to the point of being able to release something and not get an immediate return.
Right.
Like, you know, like we you know, if we spend $300, we want that pair of Jordans like right now.
Right. Right. And I just love the concepts. It's kind of like, you know, use your assets to provide the cash flow to buy all your liabilities, and now it's not dependent on your current cash flow, because if you're using debt on the consumer side or whatever, all debt is an obligation on future earnings. So some of what you've earned has been earmarked to pay that debt for something that goes down in value, which makes, you know, no sense. However, there's a way that you're able to have that. Go after those assets. And then I'm gonna give y'all another thing here. So a lot of you have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and you're familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, you know, some of his concepts and everything. And one of the things he always talks about is how, you know, how the rich will buy assets that provide cash flow. But the truly rich and truly wealthy, they don't buy assets, they create assets. Assets. When I was younger, I was like, create an asset? What are you talking about? But guess what? A lease option contract, you've created an asset out of thin air.
Absolutely.
By putting the house under contract, you have control over that asset. You create an asset out of thin air. And then with that asset, you're going to find somebody who is interested in give you money right now up front, who's going to give you that monthly cash flow and give you a big payment on the back end. Yeah, it looked like I had a call that came in, but let's see.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, I should pop up anytime now, but nonetheless, yeah, that's just powerful to me. You know, creating these contracts. I mean, you're creating assets.
There you go. Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, behind the business of real estate investing, when you're talking about putting together a concept, and you know, it's not unheard of, not to the people that pay attention to it, but just creating a concept whereby you can, like you said, create an asset out of thin air, where before I wasn't even fathoming the possibility of being able to have or become a homeowner or be in a position of ownership. Now, because of documentation and understanding and being engineering a transaction, helps a person get into a position to be able to do that. I mean, like I said, it's been around for some time, but to make more and more people aware of the possibility of getting into position to do something like that is absolutely amazing.
Right.
You know, that's what you do. I mean, even from an investment standpoint, where you can teach people how to do these types of things. You know, I implore people to reach out to you, man, to definitely connect with you, to learn more about how to do these things. Like I'm doing some of these the way you're talking about. I'm actually doing some of this in Michigan, and I have an investor that I'm working with. He's got like 20 plus properties that he owns free and clear.
Wow.
He said, man, I'm just retiring. He said, listen, give me some money down and, you know, just pay me monthly payments, you know, until whenever. And we'll amortize it over 40 years. I say, wait, what?
Right.
You're going to do what?
I mean, like, I mean,
I'm buying everything he got.
I mean, he's creating a note for it. I mean, you know, before we go, I'm gonna go ahead. You know what, yo? Since y'all listening this way, I'm about to drop something for y'all. This is gonna be, I don't know.
Give it to him, bro.
Should I give it to him now or save it for the weekend? Make him come out.
So listen. Now you made a great point. You made a great point. They definitely want to get registered. They definitely want to get registered for the event. The registration link, it should be in above or on the side or below the registration link. So you can actually, for those of you that are watch this, that are not local to the Metro Atlanta area, you can actually also register to watch it virtually, right? So you can chime in virtually. You can still get your questions answered, still be able to hear the speaker speaking and hear more of what we're going to be talking about as it relates to the state of the real estate market. So go ahead and click on that link, get registered. And you know, we gotta play the commercial again. I love it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's go to that real quick, and then we'll come back and give them a little bit about what you were going to tell them. How you doing, folks? This is Glen Glasper, affectionately known as Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime, and real life real estate investing is back live.
My brother, Glen Glasper of the Real Live Real Estate Investing Podcast, is hosting a major event. We're going to be talking about the state of the real estate market.
Now, many of us know that real estate is cyclical. We're going to be talking about the things that have happened in the past, the things that are currently happening, and potentially some of the things that we foresee happening in the future.
This is a great opportunity for you guys to come out to be able to meet some of the top gentlemen and ladies in the business and ask all your pressing questions about what's the state of the market, where do we see it going. Well, this Saturday is your opportunity to come out and talk with us face to face.
The real estate market's still hot, or is it cooling off? Well, come join myself and several of my colleagues as we discuss the current real estate market and what we're seeing on October the 9th.
So come out this Saturday, October 9th, and we look forward to seeing you there. Go ahead and click on the link below, get registered. We look forward to seeing you in the place.
If you can't make it live, make sure you register so you can attend virtually.
Okay, good stuff. So you were going to drop a major bomb on them.
Hey, look,
go ahead and give a little bit, man. Go and give a little bit.
Y'all, this is crazy. Look, I'm going to tell you, to get the full enchilada that I'm about to drop, I'm just going to give you a little teaser right now, but what if I can share with you a way into which you can actually obtain multifamily and commercial property with no money down? You don't even have to worry about getting all this funding and stuff and everything. Is that something you may be interested in? So let's kind of.
Man, listen, I'm raising my hand, bro.
Yeah, let's look at the economic landscape right now. Okay, so because of COVID, COVID itself was a disruptor in business. Okay, so a lot of people, you know, as we know, they work from home now. So a lot of those commercial leases either they got broken or they were terminated at the end of that term and everything. So you have vacancies or whatever. Okay, now there's a way in which you can actually be able to get some of this commercial space for yourself. And here's the greatest thing about it. I want y'all to consider this, okay? If you're not putting any money down and you're not leveraging your credit, what is your risk? What is your risk?
Wow.
All right. So we're eliminating risk. It's only reward. It's either you're going to be able to make money, or if you're not going to be able to make money, since you haven't put any money or credit into this or whatever, you can just walk away.
Right.
So it's kind of like try before you buy. But
Man.
if you really want the details of all of this or whatever, you need to make sure if you're in the Atlanta area, we need to pack the house out. And if not, if you're anywhere around the world or around the country or whatever, make sure you tune in, because I'm going to be going over some concepts that, I had 2 years in prison just to conjure up. I reverse engineered some of the greatest wealth building aspects of real estate.
Wow.
And now, I use these past 11 months as my beta. So now we have proof and concept. I have students all around the country right now in which we're actually implementing and executing some of these concepts, and so can you. But you got to make sure you tune in on Saturday from 11 to 1 if you want to find out about some of these.
Man, bro, listen, I just got this mic, so I can't drop it. But but bro, listen, that's the kind of stuff, man, that people really need to be paying attention to. Now, you said something. What if you could acquire commercial property? You're not leveraging any money. You're not leveraging any credit. What's your risk? I want to know what you're talking about now. So listen, I know for sure I'm going to be there. So I definitely want to find out about that.
Right.
But that's something, man, when you're talking about wealth creation, we were just talking about owning houses.
Right.
Now to get into the commercial space with little to no risk.
Right.
Some people definitely need to be paying.
So if you really look at what is the generator of wealth creation, it's the assets themselves, but it's not. The wealth creator is us. It's our intellectual property. That's really what is our IP.
Yes.
If we can utilize our IP to control, to buy, and to create assets, then we'll have a lifetime of wealth opportunities for ourselves.
Wow.
And that's what it's all about.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Listen, we're coming up on our time, but I definitely want to have the folks that are chimed in give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. Go ahead and drop them in the comments. Listen, pick this brother's brain while we got him. Especially if you don't plan on showing up on Saturday, right? If you plan on showing up on Saturday, you can get the chance to meet him and get in front of him and get your questions answered. But I still would implore those of you that are watching to ask whatever questions you may have. Jen, thank you for your contribution. She made a great observation earlier, as well as the contribution to tell us what she thought about what you were talking about as it relates to helping people get into properties with, just having the down payment. So for those of you that have some information that you want to share, you have a question to ask, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And do us a favor. Do me a favor. This is the part that I always get jumped on by my team, is if you're watching this on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching it on Facebook, share it with other folks that, maybe a partner that you want, maybe a partner that you could obtain will watch this and, they see that you shared it. They might reach out to you and find out how y'all can work together, or, become a part of the program that Mr. Idris is going to be offering. Because I know it's a program that he is going to be offering to teach you how to do this.
Right.
Is there something that you want to share with them about that?
Yeah, I tell you, if you want more information on, how we could definitely work together, and you need to mention Glen's name now. I do have a program that I have students in right now. If you're interested, just go to www.prettyhouseprofits.info. Again, that's www.prettyhouseprofits.info, and then you can get more information.
Great stuff. And we'll make sure we put that in the comments so folks can get a link to that. Or if anyone else can do that for us real quick, drop that in the comments for us to be sure people have access to that information. Listen, these are the times with, now we're in the fourth quarter, and most of us, we're on a fourth quarter run to accomplish all the things that we set out to accomplish for the year. This is an opportunity for those of you that are watching this and are aspiring real estate investors, current real estate investors, whatever level, intermediate, experience, whatever. Take advantage of the opportunity to connect with my brother Idris on how you can acquire those properties Okay, thanks. Okay, we got it. We got it. Somebody put it in there for us. How you can acquire especially the commercial real estate.
Right.
Like I have some ideas of how to be able to do that, but I want to know how to do it with no risk.
Right.
Some of the properties that I'm acquiring, commercial properties, have a little risk involved. Not very much because I'm not using my own money, so I don't have a whole lot of risk involved. But yeah, it's definitely something that I want to know more about. So I definitely will be listening in, what you got to say about that. But listen, y'all, take advantage of the information that he's sharing. And I want to repeat that site again. Make sure I get it right. Idris is prettyhouseprofits.info.
Yes.
Prettyhouseprofits.info. Listen, y'all, go ahead and go to the site, check out what it is, and I know he's got a class that you can sign up for, get connected, and, don't miss out on the opportunity to take whatever situation that you're currently in to the next level.
Right.
I've been doing this for 20 some years, and I'm always a student first. I always say I'm a student first. So I love to learn more and more about how we can creatively make things happen, and from a collaborative perspective as well. We work together. It's not much we can't accomplish. So definitely look at that as well. So, anything you want to share with the folks before we get out of here, sir?
Hey, you got to be in the house on Saturday, and make sure you register for the event. Saturday. Think about it. The real estate market is changing. You want to be, on the forefront of how to execute some of these strategies. You want to execute these strategies before they hit critical mass. That's how you're going to be able to identify opportunities that other people aren't aware of. And that's how you're going to be able to really create the abundance that you're looking for to create generational wealth for you and your families.
Absolutely. So at the end of the year, when all these millions of dollars have been made, there's going to be people in one of three categories: those that don't know what happened, those that are actually making things happen, and then the rest of those that are wondering what the hell just happened. So listen, that's our show for the day, folks. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for chiming in. Always thank y'all for supporting the show. And speaking of supporting the show, I'm not good with this, but they have to remind me to click on the link around here somewhere. There's a link that you can, offer a love. We'll call it a love offering. I think it's a Cash App link they put in here. Drop $5 in.
Support the show.
Show your love for what we do. Show your love for what we offer. It's gonna probably go to getting the post production done, so you can watch this kind of stuff on YouTube and different channels and things like that. But listen, thank y'all for your support. Thank y'all for watching. At least we appreciate that. And we'll see you all next week. But don't forget to get registered and come out Saturday and get this information, because we're going to be live and in person, and you'll have a virtual option to watch it, chime in as well. So again, this has been the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show, where we talk about real life real estate situations, but we certainly bring you real life real estate solutions. Look forward to seeing y'all soon.